and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Okay, picture this. You're right in the middle of a community event, maybe a summer fete. That buzz, you know, part excitement, part, well, barely controlled chaos. Guests turning up way too early, things not quite ready, performers stuck somewhere. It's that whole frantic scramble to make it work.
It is, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got this audio recording, an episode of BBC Radio 4's The Archers from August 10th, 2025.
Ah, Ambridge.
Yes, and it's not just, a story. It's packed with these fascinating real-world moments about managing events, how communities tick, even those little microeconomies that spring up.
Right, so our mission today is basically to pull out those practical lessons, the surprising insights from what just looks like a village fete on the surface.
Exactly. We'll look at leadership clashes, how they deal with unexpected problems, how businesses adapt, and what really holds a community together.
Okay, let's get into it. The Ambridge Village Fete at Gray Gables. Linda and Dane are running the show, and the pressure is on immediately.
Oh yeah, guests are there an hour early, wanting rides, even though the signs say otherwise.
And Dane is already showing the strain, isn't he? But Linda has this mantra. Good management starts with a calm mind.
It's that classic tension. The stressed out operations person versus the cool-headed strategist almost happens every time.
And the problems start hitting almost straight away.
They do. The main band, the Holt and Silver Band, stuck on the bypass. They're not going to make the opening.
Right, a potential disaster. But what do?
This is where you see that quick thinking. No panic. They grab the Edgeley Morris men to kick things off instead. It's real on-the-fly adaptation.
Resourceful. And speaking of things maybe not going as planned initially, the Teddy zip wire.
Ah, yes. Linda was apparently quite skeptical. She pictured like a washing line or something.
Ah, yeah. But it turned out to be a huge success, didn't it? Properly built by Akram, Ed, and Emma.
Absolutely. They even had Teddy roared the zip wire certificates.
Yeah.
And Lillian doing the commentary.
With the puns. Some grisly ones, apparently.
Right. It just shows how, empowering volunteers with a maybe slightly quirky idea can lead to something brilliant. It became a real highlight.
It did. But that success also feeds into another challenge. Managing those volunteers.
Akram, who was key to the zip wire, gets asked by Dane to help with card readers somewhere else.
The artisan village, yeah.
But Akram says no. He's already promised Kirsty he'd have sort reeds for basket weaving.
It shows that hidden network, doesn't it? Volunteers have their own loyalties, their own commitments within the community. It's not just about the main event organizer.
Exactly. It's this complex web. Dane finds it odd, says Ambridge seems unusually fanatical about joining in.
Whereas Linda sees it differently. She believes volunteers are actually more effective than paid staff if you value them properly.
Which is a really interesting management perspective in itself.
And this whole volunteer situation, people having other commitments or unexpected absences, it creates this domino effect.
Absolutely. Take Kenton. He was meant to referee the big tug-of-war.
A key role.
A very key role. But he pulls out. He's worried sick about his family member, Marky, who's missing. The police investigation isn't getting anywhere.
Oh, wow. So a personal crisis directly impacts the event's running order.
Precisely. It underlines how fragile that line can be between personal lives and keeping the event afloat in a community setting.
So who steps in for the tug-of-war?
Lily, or maybe it was Lillian, steps up. Again, that community spirit filling the gap.
But she's already juggling other things, right? Missing mats for the helter-skelter, team lists changing constantly.
Yeah, it's chaos management. But you also hear about people like Stella and Pip from Ambridge just getting on with it, being in great form despite having their own farm dramas just days before.
That shows real resilience, doesn't it?
It really does. Incredible, really.
And all this time, Dane's stress levels are probably just going through the roof.
You bet. Linda keeps telling him about mindfulness. Good management starts with a calm mind.
And Dane's response is just perfect, isn't it?
Hilarious. Actually, I'll take all the help I can get.
It's so real. Theory is one thing, but when you're in the thick of it.
Exactly. You just need hands on deck.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's look at the Fate's economic side, because there's some really interesting stuff happening there too.
Definitely. You have Susan and Neil at their wine stall, and they are having a really bad time.
How bad?
Sold 1 bottle of wine in an hour. 1. Meanwhile, other stalls are crowded. Even Sabrina Sweat's selling.
Hideous hand-crocheted toilet roll covers.
Those exact ones.
Mm-hmm.
Susan's just generally frustrated, with their whole shop situation, always setting up and packing down at the village hall.
You can feel that frustration, but then an intervention happens.
Yes. Tracy, Susan's sister, comes along with a bit of business sense.
Yeah.
She says, okay, drop the prices, sure. But the real idea
The brilliant idea.
is selling wine by the glass, right there, for people to drink at the fete. Furlough with your wood-fired pizza, Rioja with your artisan cheese.
That's smart. It tackles the problem head-on, doesn't it? People don't want to carry bottles around all day.
Exactly. And it competes directly with the beer tent, in a way selling bottles doesn't. They basically identified a customer pain point and pivoted their offering.
A classic market-responsive move, right there at a village fete.
Totally. It's textbook, but in a very practical setting.
So what happens? Does it work?
It works incredibly well, but initially, Susan has this moment of doubt, worrying about being disloyal to Kenton and Jolene at the Bull's beer tent.
Ah, that community dynamic again. Competition can feel personal.
Right. But the fascinating thing is, it turns out there's plenty of business for everyone. The wine stall starts attracting the posh folks from Gray Gables, and the beer tent is still doing roaring trade.
So it wasn't a zero-sum game after all.
Not at all. The innovation actually seemed to expand the overall custom. More people were drinking, whether it was wine or beer. A rising tide lifted both boats, essentially.
That's a great lesson for small businesses, isn't it? Innovation doesn't always have to just steal customers from rivals.
Absolutely. You can grow the whole pie.
Okay, so the fete is buzzing, the wine is flowing. What about the main event, the tug-of-war?
Yes. Linda calls it a metaphor for the true soul of a village. And the scene sounds electric. Huge crowd waiting.
Gray Gables struggling to field a team, Lillian stepping in as ref just in time.
The tension builds. You hear all the coaching shouts, keep the lead leg straight, drive it into the ground, keep the rope tight.
And the crowd roaring, Ambridge all the way, versus Gray Gables, pull, pull.
You can just picture it.
Uh-huh.
And then Ambridge wins.
Against the odds, apparently. Dane seems surprised.
Very surprised. He expected his younger Gray Gables staff to make mincemeat of the old farmers.
But Linda has the final word on that, doesn't she?
She does. Never underestimate the strength of a farmer. They never let up.
It perfectly sums up her metaphor, really. Collaboration and communication. It's not just raw strength.
No, it's that collective effort, that shared history and perseverance. It's the community spirit made physical.
So the event wraps up. Rain is threatening. Linda gives her thank you speech.
Yep. Thanks, Oliver, Gray Gables, the weather, the attendees. Standard stuff.
And she gives Dane a specific shout out, calls him her right-hand man, praises his standards. Seems okay.
On the surface, yes. But then you hear the reaction from Za and Lillian almost immediately afterwards.
Ah, what do they say?
They're quite put out. They point out that Akram, or Aaron, these both names, did everything for the fete. But Linda didn't mention him at all.
Ouch. That stings.
And there's more. Apparently Marky's mother, the one whose son is missing, was actually instrumental in getting Gray Gables to sponsor the fete in the first place.
And she wasn't mentioned either.
Not a word, according to them. It throws a completely different light on the acknowledgments, doesn't it?
It really does. It brings up that whole issue of visible versus invisible contributions.
Exactly. And it leads to this little debate. Akram apparently says he'd rather just fade gracefully into the background.
Some people are like that.
True. But Za and Lillian are having none of it. They say Linda shouldn't be allowed to get away with this.
It's a tough one, isn't it? How do you ensure people get credit, especially if they don't seek it? And whose job is it to make sure those behind-the-scenes efforts are seen?
That's the crux of it. It's a critical point about teamwork and community recognition.
So looking back at this whole deep dive into one feat, what are the big takeaways for you?
Well, it really shows how chaotic and dynamic event planning always is. You need that resilience, that ability to adapt constantly.
And the power of community stepping up is undeniable.
Absolutely. Then there's the business side, how a simple, smart pivot like selling wine by the glass can completely change fortunes and challenge that zero-sum thinking.
Right. And finally, that really crucial point about recognition, making sure all contributions are valued, not just the obvious ones.
Yeah, that really stood out.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about all that unseen effort, the emotional labor that goes into making things like this work. When is it okay for someone to just fade into the background?
And when is it vital, maybe not just for them, but for the whole group's morale, to make sure their contribution is seen and acknowledged?
What does it actually mean to truly see what everyone brings to the table in any kind of joint effort, whether it's a village fete or, a project you're working on yourself?
That's a really good question to ponder.
So what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar.
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever